And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Delvecchio here, specializing in life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry. All of us here in the studio are on the front of that Titanic ship, swaying away. Now, have we got a story for you? And I'd like to bring in Marie-Claude Giguère. Marie-Claude and I both have a passion for helping and guiding seniors and their families. One of her many services that she offers includes estate clearouts. Well, there was one particular estate clearout that she will remember forever. And there is a Titanic angle to this estate clearout. And seeing that it's the 25th anniversary of the movie Titanic, I thought it'd be an ideal time to talk about it. So Marie-Claude, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Marie-Claude, so good. You reached out to me, and I just love this story. So let's set it up. You get a call for an estate clearout, and who's it for?
It's for a gentleman, so it's the executor who called me. He said, I need help. A gentleman living in a retirement residence. He's 93. He just passed. I need your help to empty out the apartment. Single, no family, never married. So we need to figure out what to do with everything in the content, and we need to have the apartment delivered by a certain date.
And he's an only child as well, the one who passed away.
He's an only child.
All right.
Yep.
So, and then you get called in. There's a specific request or part of the will that touches on the contents in the residence. And what does it say?
So I sit in the studio apartment with the executor. I'm sitting on the hospital bed, and he's sitting on a cane chair, and he reads the will to me. He said, so in this apartment, we need to find a ring, a sculpture with the matching paperwork that goes with it. We need to find a silver bookmark. And when you touch Mom's ashes, please honor the wishes and remove all traces of me on this earth. So everything that had his name on it, it was to shred it and to destroy it so that he didn't have a trace of himself on this planet.
All right. So the executor calls you. This gentleman passes away. You've got to clear everything out. And now the person who passed away, his mom's ashes are in the residence that you got to find. Right?
Somewhere.
It's somewhere. And you do locate the ashes. And there was a note, from what I understand. Is that correct?
There was a note. So seeing that I was doing this estate clear up by myself, I could go any time of day and I could go quickly. So I decided to start by the closet. So it was like just one big room. Started from the left, and that was a closet. So I started with the closet, took all the clothes, put my hand in every pocket to make sure the ring wasn't in there, took the shoes, what is sellable, what's donatable, sorted. Closet is emptied. Oh, about to run off to an appointment that I have to go to, and I see a box at the bottom of the closet. I reach in, it's all the way at the end. I reach in, I get the box, and there's a note on this box. And Matt, this note has on it, handwritten, a note that says ashes with Mom's full name for burial at sea on the Somme Abyssal Plain, southeast of Newfoundland, 59 degrees west, 40 degrees north, depth 31,160 fathoms.
Okay.
I'm holding this box. I'm about to run out. And I'm like, okay, Tim, who's the executor, Tim, I think I just found the hardest, most challenging task of this estate clear out.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed, Matt Delvecchio. And that's the voice of Marie-Claude Giguère, who does these estate clearouts. All right. Now, you got to figure out, where is this? And I guess after this research, you start to realize, wait a minute here, this is the site of where the Titanic went down. Is that correct?
So the first thing I did was I looked up the GPS location of that, and I'm like, that's like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like, what happened there? Why would she want to go there? And I'm like, oh, hold on a sec. Maybe the Titanic? Really? So I looked up where the Titanic is resting, and it's right there, and or very close to it. And I'm like, wow, awesome. And so Matt, when a senior is in the room, I become very much a guard dog for the senior. Mm-hmm. When I'm working for an estate, I guard dog that much more, right? So for me, it was really to honor that and protect that. And I kept sight of that box throughout the whole time. And then Tim said, could you please just focus on the estate clear out right now? We'll take care of the ashes, put them aside, bring them to your office, and we'll take care of them afterwards. And we'll talk about it. We're also within the pandemic, so I couldn't really travel. He said, plan a trip next year to take care of it.
All right. So, and this story has so many twists and plots to it. Now, we'll get right to it. You plan a trip to Newfoundland
Mhm.
with the ashes, and there's logistics and all that. You've worked all that out. Now you arrive in Newfoundland, and what happens next?
So before I get to Newfoundland, I'm just going to describe a picture frame that's on the table that's looking at me throughout this whole job that I'm doing as I'm
Uh-huh.
clearing out the estate. Beautiful lady, white hair, pulled back in a bun with a lovely smile, black and white photo. She's looked at me throughout the whole process. I feel like I've connected with this lady. So I've booked my trip to Newfoundland. I have the ashes in my bag. I've never been to Newfoundland. Tim and I decided that I wasn't going to take a helicopter and go scuba diving to try and get these ashes to the exact location, but that we would go as close to.
Plus,
S-
there's some danger as well. It's not like
Extreme.
yes. So smart move.
Yeah, so I looked at the map and I'm like, okay, let's get as close to. So I went to Trepassey, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but Trepassey in Newfoundland. I drove there, barren roads. I was alone. It felt like I was alone traveling with these ashes. And then I get to the edge of the Avalon Inn.
Mhm.
John is the owner. And I'm told, my wife's grandfather is the one who received the distress call for the Titanic when
Oh,
it was sinking. And I'm like,
stop.
are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy. So, anyways, I had thought of having the ashes go off the edge of right next to a lighthouse that is close to that inn. And that's why I chose it, just to have a ceremonial kind of release for the ashes. I woke up the next morning, Matt, and I'm like, I should hire a captain. Let's hire a captain and let's go out to sea. Go ahead.
Listening to Life on Earth is Mary Claude Giguère. She's telling us about this magical story of doing an estate clear out, and she has to get rid of these ashes by the request of this gentleman's mom, and off she goes to as close to the Titanic site as possible. This was the wishes. Okay, so now you're at the inn. You realize, okay, I'm at this lighthouse, and it's not really going to cut it where you are.
She didn't want to be tossed off at sea. She wanted to be buried at sea. So I decided I should hire a captain. So I hired a captain. I'm told Bob is going to pick you up or go down to the dock at 4:30 this afternoon, and you can go. So I have the box, I have the note, and I have the ashes in that box. I get to the dock. Anyways, Art, who is the brother-in-law, is also on the ship. He's over the moon about this whole story. And I'm like, okay, can I just speak to Bob? Agnes is on the ship as well. And then I say, could we just go to the edge of the inn so that, the water is so calm. My hair is like I'm on the inside. It's not moving. It's just freaky.
And this is not normal, you've been told, right? It's
right.
like unheard of.
Right. There's usually white caps on the water and everything. So I have this box and I have the note. And I decided, I told Bob, I'm going to rip the note up at the front so that they're separated. And I'm going to have the box at the back of the boat. So I dropped the notes and I ripped it up at the front. The paper's ripped up and the box is at the back of the boat. The box starts floating away and is floating and is not sinking. Bob looks at me and he's like, should we go sink it? I'm like, yeah, she didn't want to float. Let's go sink it. He's like, I have a poker. So we go, and I can't tell you how weird this is, but the pieces of paper, once we got to the box, were amongst the box. They floated with, so I can kind of understand they might have stuck to the side of the boat, and as we turned, and but for the pieces of paper to be with that box right there with no wind, with the whole thing, it was just so unreal. There's so much more to this story, but no time to say it. But it was just
the
like,
note ends up being with the ashes, and the ashes finally get sunk, and the wishes.
I push
are
it
made.
down. There's
Yeah.
a big air bubble that comes up and captures the paper and the box, and it disappeared into the ocean. And I hope she is resting at peace 40 years after her death, once I found her in the closet.
Mary Claude, unbelievable and good for you. This was a real mission that you mission
It
accomplished.
was awesome.
Well, we want to thank you for sharing this story, this magical story, on the 25th anniversary of the Titanic. By the way, Mary Claude, you work a lot with seniors. You do these estate clears. How can people get a hold of you?
HelpingSeniors.ca would be the best place.
All right. Well, that's Mary Claude Giguère telling us her magical story while doing an estate clear out.